Welcome to Greenable Woodbridge. Today's show is very special because we're going to learn all about recycling, what you can and can't recycle, and then we're going to follow the materials down to the recycling center and see what happens there. So come on into my home with me. So we're here in my home with Audrey Rosker, who is the recycling coordinator for Woodbridge Township. And I don't think I'm alone in always having questions about what we should recycle and what we shouldn't recycle. So Audrey is here to give us a lesson in what is recyclable and what's not recyclable. But before we start looking at that, can you tell us why recycling is so vitally important?
Recycling is important for a lot of things. Probably the most important thing is when it comes to your landfill. You want to keep as many items out of your landfill so the life of your landfill is longer.
Right.
That's your important one. And then other ones, when you can reuse different products that you have here and make them into something new, you're going to be saving a lot of things from energy to transportation all the way down. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. We're keeping our landfills, we're keeping more room for the trash we can't get rid of, we're turning all these items into new things that we can use again.
Right. Absolutely. And you know, you hear me say this on the show all the time. It's the two greens, the greens of the environment and the green of our taxpayers' money.
Absolutely.
And
Very true.
that landfill is very expensive for us to take things to. So we really want to minimize that to save both the environment and the tax dollars. So let me start with where we all began when we started recycling, what, 30 years ago?
Yes, it was 30 years ago.
It's gotten even simpler because initially we had to put the newspapers here and the plastics there, and now it's single stream.
Right, no more separation. Everything goes into the one big blue bin. Yes.
Right, but from what we're learning, because it's single stream, people are starting to put in things they shouldn't put in.
Absolutely. We become a little lazy. We'll pick up something not sure and we'll go, I'll just throw it into that bin. Yeah, and that's the wrong thing to do.
And that kind of contaminates.
Right, and if you're not sure, then you shouldn't put it into your blue bin if you don't know.
Okay, all right. And I don't know if that's a rule people are normally following.
Because everybody wants to do the right thing. They see something, they go, I bet you that can be recycled into something.
Right.
Then if it can't, when it goes to the facility can't use it, they're just going to have to landfill it also.
Okay.
So you're really not saving anything. If you're not sure, you can always call our office and we can give you guidance also.
Or get the My Waste app.
The famous My Waste app.
Talk about that a minute.
We have the My Waste app for Woodbridge Township. It's free for everybody to download. And it's wonderful because you can put your address into it. And once you put your address into it, it gives you a customized schedule for your street address. So it will tell you your pickup dates for there. Any special events going on, it'll tell you. And the best part is you could take, say, something like this, a Gable carton, and you can say, I have a soy milk carton. What do I do with it? You can type that in, and it'll tell you, put it in the blue bin or put it in your trash bin.
That is terrific.
So it takes a lot of the guesswork out.
And it will also tell you, like, if it's snow and we're telling people to put out their garbage the night before this expected storm, it will let you know that you need to do that.
I can send out little tweets. You can almost call it on it. I can tell you if there's a special event coming up or we have a lot of snow, don't put your cans out this day, put it out this day. It's a wonderful resource.
It's great, and more poor people are using that.
Yes, a lot more. Yes, it has.
Right, so that is really good. So let's get going here because Audrey brought a lot of garbage to my house. So let's decide what goes in the recycling bin and what goes in the garbage. We'll start with the first thing we all learn to recycle.
That's right, our cans. That's one of our original recyclable materials. Absolutely.
Okay, so that goes in here.
That out. Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
All right. And we all know about the soda bottle.
Correct.
One question people always have, cap off or cap on?
You can leave the cap on. A good rule of thumb on anything, if it's plastic bottle, plastic cap, leave it on. If you have something like a glass bottle, which you can recycle, you might want to take that plastic cap off.
Interesting.
So when it goes through the process, the plastic isn't going in with the glass. But this is recyclable also, so I'm going to take the cap off. I'd actually probably put this cap in the trash since it's a little small. It's a little small. It can get jammed up in the machine sometimes. So you can put it in the trash or you can put it in the recycle bin. But you're right. Let's put it in the recycle bin. And we'll put the glass along with it.
Okay, and this will go too.
Okay.
Now, let me see which one was. Oh, this. So this is a body wash. As much as I try, because I like to save money, I try to get that last drop out of the body wash. Correct. You never can.
Right.
So it's not totally clean. It's got probably about that much left in it.
It's got a little bit in it, but that's okay. They go for about a 5% residue, 5 to 10% rule.
Right.
So when you have a little bit of that, because you always have it in your body wash, your shampoos, your conditioners, please recycle that. Absolutely. That's a good one to recycle.
That was one of the questions that I had. And talking about being clean, I've got, every day I have my yogurt.
Right.
And I don't want to have to scrub it and wash it out totally clean. But this, with a little bit left,
that's fine.
Is okay.
Correct.
So don't be discouraged, even though you want it to be clean. It doesn't have to be like you can eat off of it again. It can have a little bit left.
A little bit in it.
So there we go. Okay, what else should we take a look at? Soda cans.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, definitely
that's a no-brainer.
Okay, the Windex.
Yep, that's a good one.
Okay,
that's plastic.
just as
That'll
it
go in
is.
as it is.
Right.
Put that one in.
Okay, the coffee can.
Coffee cans, those are recyclable. They're tin. I take the lid off.
You take the lid off.
I would take the lid off and keep it separate.
Okay,
And
not
that can go in.
perfectly clean, but it's clean enough.
That's clean enough, absolutely.
Right. Okay. What else? Anything else here you want to point out?
Well, the Gable. This is the good one. The Gable. These are called Gable top cartons or your milk cartons. These are a really excellent source of recyclable paper inside of here.
Really?
So the same with the juice box. The kids have the juice boxes. Those can get recycled out. And you know they're hard to clean inside. So they can just go in. I do the same thing with this. I would keep this, put this in. You can put the cap in also. And that can get recycled out.
All right. And we have some things here. Good.
Those are all good to be recycled.
Okay. Okay, two types of A cartons.
Well, which one do you think we could recycle?
This one for
Absolutely.
sure. Styrofoam?
No.
Not put it in my garbage. Okay, I'm going to put it over there to go into the trash. All right, anything else here that we haven't talked about yet? Here's another styrofoam thing, which I'll put into my trash.
And it's basically just your different types of plastic and glass that we have here that we can recycle that all out.
What about this?
Your mailers. You've got your paper on the outside, but you've got the plastic on the inside. So that's not something you could recycle right now.
Absolutely not. Okay. So we'll put that over there. How about these tin things?
Tins you can recycle. They're clean. They're good.
Oh, okay.
But if you're making those big pans of your lasagna and stuff and they become really dirty and you can't get it out, I would put that into the trash.
Okay. That's okay. I didn't know that. That's good.
That's good.
Okay. And the banana peel?
Absolutely in the trash.
In the trash, right. One day we'll do another show and talk about composting.
With composting, yes, because absolutely that could go into your compost.
All right. And
your pizza box. Now, pizza boxes can be tricky. If we look inside this pizza box, though, this pizza box really is clean.
What did you do? Lick it clean? Did you get your finger to get all the cheese out?
This puts a very good piece of the wax paper. So you take that paper out, you throw that away, and this could be recycled. If the bottom of this was dirty and the top was clean, if you really want to be a good recycler, you can rip the top off and recycle it and put the bottom part in the trash.
Okay.
But this definitely recycle.
So while we're talking about boxes, I know cardboard is a definite good thing.
Yes, it is.
But with the boxes, do we have to cut up every single box? Is there a rule of thumb? If it's small, you don't have to.
Curbside?
Yeah.
If you want to cut it up, if you want it to fit in your cart, if you're afraid it's going to jam in the cart and not let the truck empty it, then cut it up. Otherwise, you don't have to. Or you can bring it to the convenience recycling center. That's always an excellent place to drop them off.
So you brought that up. What kinds of things can you take to the convenience center?
You can take all these types of items. Anything you put in your curbside cart, you can take down there.
Right.
And what's good about down there is for cardboard, the town gets a better rate if I can separate out the cardboard. So I do have a container down there that you can just cardboard into, and we can rate about 120 a ton. From that cardboard. So that's pretty good. So if people can take the time to bring down that corrugated cardboard and put it in our bin down there, that's great.
That is terrific.
Right. But we recycle down there. We recycle metal. We recycle appliances. We have a huge container for shredded paper because people always want to put the shredded paper into the curbside. It's paper, it's recyclable, but you can imagine putting it with these items, it'll start to kind of get into everything and contaminate.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. If you could bring that down to the yard, your shredded paper, that's excellent for us. High prices on paper also.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Good.
Cooking oil. Before I forget cooking oil, we recycle cooking oil down there also.
I love that.
That's on your program.
That is terrific. Yep.
That's a very good one.
That is a great one. Okay, what about this?
Oh, the bad thing, plastic
It's
bags. It's plastic and it's a plastic film, but it can't go in the curbside cart. We have places in town you can take it to recycle, but you can't put it in the curbside cart.
Would you say this is one of your most common mistakes that people make?
Yes, because what's going to happen is usually people would take those items, put it into this bag, walk out to their cart and drop the bag in.
Yep.
Not a good thing. If you want to take it out in the bag, you've got to rip the bag open, dump the stuff loose into your blue bin, and then you can either recycle that out at an area or put it in your
trash. And just to show you what I do is...
Oh, you've got the giant bag and bag.
I have the bag of bags.
Very good. Excellent.
And then, luckily for me, the place where I work, Town Hall, has a place where you can throw these. And what happens with the things that I take to Town Hall?
I'm in an agreement with the Trex company. They run a program every year that starts on America Recycles Day in November, and it ends on Earth Day. And during that time, they challenge schools, businesses, and towns to collect as many plastic bags as they can. You have to send them off to a center. We partner up with a store, with a supermarket, who takes our bags. And then at the tally at the end of the year, if you tally in enough, you get to win a bench. And we did get a bench this year, a very nice bench made out of Trex material.
Great.
But Trex runs that program every year.
Right. And where else do they have the collecting points?
Collecting, I have them in Town Hall. I have them in the Evergreen and the Sycamore Senior Center. And of course at the Recycling Convenience Center.
And then if you're not going to any of those, most of the supermarkets.
ShopRite, the different large stores, Wegmans, you can put your bags in there.
Food Town right here.
Food Town has it also. There
right. Yep. So we can do that. And of course the magazines, the junk mail, the newspapers, all the paper goes. And the days of having to do them separately from all this, thankfully, are over.
It's gone. Right.
Just
shiny paper goes in, office paper, everything.
Everything.
Right in.
So I think my can is full.
One thing though with the box. Let's look at this box.
What's with this box?
That's a cardboard box, which
looks
of course
like
we can recycle. Okay.
Yeah.
And people might go and throw it in, but the problem is it still has its packing material inside. So these are the items you don't want to go in with the cardboard.
Okay.
So we would empty that out, throw that away, and then we would be able to recycle this out.
Okay.
Well,
thank you for this, Audrey.
I had a call the other day where somebody said, can I recycle my newspaper? I said, absolutely. Just remember, newspaper goes into the bin also.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we're full.
We're full.
I'll have to get that on the next one.
Okay.
But, and I actually have a little thing for all my newspapers that makes it easier, but you don't have to do that. You can do it all in one. Well, we're going to, how about if you come out with me to my garbage can, my recycle can, and we take it out there?
That sounds like a good idea.
Okay. I'm going to take a ride to Bayshore and see what happens to my garbage.
Thank you, Billy. That was a great ride. And here we are at Bayshore Recycling. Let's see what it is that they do. Thank you for having us here.
Absolutely.
So here we are, continuing our journey of what happens to all of the recyclables from the home to the bales that you're going to show us later. So I'm here right now with Valerie Montecalvo, who owns Bayshore Recycling. And Val, tell us a little bit about, or a lot about, the role that recycling plays in town, in the county, and in New Jersey.
Well, Carol, thank you for coming here today. As you know, we're very proud of our facility. We are here on 58 acres in beautiful Woodbridge Township. We are the largest and most diversified recycling facility in New Jersey, if not the entire Northeast.
Wow.
We are very proud to have Woodbridge as our host community because most people probably don't realize that Woodbridge is the proud recipient for 7 years of the Sustainable Champion Award in the prestigious Sustainable Jersey program. And that is really important.
And it's important, and it only happens because of Bayshore Recycling. And I have to give you a great big thank you because you are our #1, our prime sponsor for Greenable Woodbridge. So everything that we do as part of Greenable Woodbridge, if it needs money, you're always there with an open checkbook. So thank you so much.
And we're happy to support your green initiatives and your forward thinking. So to talk a little bit about Middlesex County also, because it goes hand in hand with Woodbridge and Bayshore's success, Woodbridge and being in Middlesex County has the greatest recycling recovery rate in the state of New Jersey. The rate is 72%, which is really staggering.
That is staggering.
Because there are 565 municipalities in New Jersey. So if you think about those numbers, 72% is off the charts. And I'm sure that's because of Woodbridge's efforts and Bayshore's efforts. And then to talk about New Jersey, a lot of people don't realize that here in New Jersey, we started the Mandatory Recycling Act 30 years ago. So 2017 marks the anniversary of the Mandatory Recycling Act in New Jersey. And it was one of the first states in the United States to place that law into effect. So here as we stand in 2017, the recycling recovery rate in New Jersey is 64%. And if you think about it, when the national average is only 34% across all other 50 states, that is amazing. So hats off to Woodbridge,
yes,
to the county of Middlesex, and to the state of New Jersey.
And to Bayshore Recycling for actually making it happen. Because without you and your facility, it would just all kind of gather up and end up in the landfill. Right, and that's the one thing that we don't want, which is why we work so hard to recycle. Valerie, look what I brought with me, a whole truckload of recycling.
Thank you.
And it's amazing that all of this could come from one truck. And as I look at it, I think we do a pretty good job. Our residents kind of have a sense of what you can and can't recycle, because this looks like a good truckload. I see plastic cans, cardboard, so pizza boxes, they okay?
They're They're okay.
They're okay. Okay.
Absolutely okay.
So,
And one of the things that Woodbridge does that amazes me is you not only put out your incredible calendar with all of the recycling dates and all the information, but you have a waste stack. So,
isn't that great?
You know, coming in to the electronic age, it's so incredible that you can just go to My Waste app and be able to see all of this information. So community awareness is so important to be able to bring the right materials to the recycling center.
which is why we're here,
Yes.
so that we can explain to our residents what happens to all of this and what you can and you can't recycle.
And a couple of key points that I would like to make that most people will not realize until you actually see it, which you're going to do today, is recycling is more like the floor of the stock exchange. So if you can envision commodities being traded every day with different market conditions, both domestically and internationally, that's what happens here in Bayshore. And one of our mottos that we love to always say is our Bayshore preserves natural resources through recycling. Because if you think about this, all of these materials are just being remade back into similar or other products, and you don't have to destroy a natural resource to create them again.
That
so
is
we
fantastic.
really are
Right.
saving the planet.
So the Wall Street will trade commodities like wheat and commodities like recycled plastic.
Plastics, cardboard, aluminum, scrap metals, they're all traded and they're all reutilized back into manufacturing.
Right. And that's such an important part, because that is part of how you make a business out of this, because the money that you get for the recycled makes it so that
It helps create all the jobs,
Right.
pay for the technology, and keep the planet green.
That is terrific. That's great. So show me around.
So let's take a tour.
Okay, Valerie, here we are at the beginning of the sorting process. Can you please tell me how this works?
Absolutely. So all the material you dumped in the tipping floor goes into a metering bin behind this wall, and it goes up the conveyor belt and all the way up to the top, where we have trained technicians who are able to do what we call a pre-sort. And what they do at the pre-sort is they look for materials that are not recyclable.
Oh.
And so what they do is they'll drop them into
can
the
see their
bins. You can
feet.
see them. We're going to go
Yep.
up there. And they drop these into the bins. These are materials that is not recyclable. And this is what we call rigid plastics. They are the lower grade recyclable materials. So we want to pull those out before we get to the more expensive commodities. So let's take a walk up the stairs and let's go where it all happens.
Okay.
So here we go, Carol. Here is the initial phase of the recycling and sorting. It all starts here. So once everything comes up from the metering bin, off of the conveyor, we have a highly skilled staff here of technicians.
Hello, everybody.
That are able to tell which material is not recyclable, because we want to pull those materials out of the stream before we get upwards towards the more expensive commodities.
Right.
So
They
they
throw
find
them down the
something, they
chute
throw it
to
down the chute
downstairs.
into the bin. Very efficient operation.
Great. So that goes right to where we
Right
just
there.
were.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
So now let's take you to the other side and show you some of the other commodities.
Okay.
So here we are at the machine that does all of the cardboard sorting and separating from the paper. What happens is there's a bunch of star screens, a pretty interesting technology, that we call cardboard surfing occurs. So the star screens will move, the cardboard will surf to the top and
Right.
just ride over it, and the paper will fall to bins underneath it.
Fascinating.
And then the cardboard goes directly down a line. There's some additional quality control that happens, and then it gets immediately baled and sent out to market. And cardboard is a very valuable commodity, especially nowadays where we are actually a shipping commodity country, where
Right.
everything comes in boxes to your doorstep. So this is where it all happens.
That is terrific. Wow, I can't wait to see what happens next.
Audrey, what do we have here?
So we have two sections in the areas where we sort mixed paper. We have the larger pieces of mixed paper and still maybe some cardboard that will get sorted here. And then on the other side, they'll sort the smaller pieces. So we have, again, the highly skilled technicians that are able to look at this material and be able to pick, positive pick we call it, what materials go in what bin.
Okay, sounds good.
Carol, what we have here are two different operations on this same platform. So over here we have a glass operation. What happens is the glass comes up the belt and it goes through a machine that's going to do a glass breaking process. And then it goes through another conveyor and it gets put outside the building in a bunker so that it can go out to end markets. On this side, we have an eddy current, which is the technology responsible for separating out the aluminum. So Carol, there are three identical pieces of equipment here that are highly technical optical sorters. And what an optical sorter does is they're actually cameras that are able to analyze the composition of the different types of material.
Oh my goodness.
And sort by composition. Can you imagine that?
And I heard one of your experts here say something about light.
Yes.
So they use cameras and they use light reflection.
Reflects the light through the optical sorter.
Wow.
It's really amazing.
Fascinating.
Very
Fascinating.
Carol, and this is the magnet. This magnet separates out all of the ferrous materials.
This is the biggest magnet I've ever seen. It's
Absolutely.
huge.
It's amazing. So Carol, we're almost to the end of the process. If you see these hydraulic bins behind me, each bunker has a different commodity in it. When the bunker becomes full, the door opens, the commodity drops to the conveyor belt, and that particular material goes up the baler behind the actual chute over there, and it gets baled and out to the marketplace.
And what I like is that it went from a recyclable to a commodity, and that's what it's all about.
It is a perfect operation, and we are so proud to be here in Woodbridge and be part of the Woodbridge team.
Great. So Val, I think we're coming to the end here.
We are almost to the end, and here is the one of many balers that is on the facility site. This is going to be making the bales that are coming out of the bunkers that we previously talked about. And once the material is baled, then it is put in almost a stockpile, ready to go out to the marketplace.
Terrific. Let's go look at some bales. Okay, so here we are at the last stop. You actually have a commodity that's ready to go to the market. So before we conclude this, I want to point out a couple of things that make Space Shore Recycling very special. First of all, for all of the young women out there who think that you can only do certain kinds of jobs, to me, Valerie has always been one of the biggest female role models, going down a road that's totally unorthodox and making it successful. And I know you spend a lot of time mentoring young women, and that is so important that we make our women strong and know that any career path is open to them. And then the other thing that makes this very special is Mike and Frank, come on over here. This is truly a family business. Frank, Valerie's husband, actually designed and engineered everything that you see here. And as you were telling me, there were a lot of naysayers saying, that won't work, can't do it, and you just said, listen to me, and you built it, and look at it. We're going to see in a minute how it actually runs, how great it is. And Mike was fortunate enough to marry into this family. You married Val's daughter, who is in the office, running the office, and you are the operations manager. You make sure that everything is running as it should be.
Yes.
So this is a family that makes recycling hum. And you have won many awards. I couldn't even, we didn't have a half an hour for me to list all of them. But you are well recognized as Woodbridge recognizes Bayshore Recycling. And thank you, Valerie, so much for taking us on this tour and being you and doing what you do.
You're very welcome. We are honored. Thank you.